Look, J.D. Vance is out there doing an absolutely incredible job, exposing the machine and showing the American people exactly how this criminal syndicate operates. People are finally waking up and realizing the Tea Party doesn't care about America. They're completely all in for criminals, illegals, wokeism, communism, and apparently they've got a real soft spot for actual Nazis. The public sees it now. There is zero doubt about it. And they're finally watching the rigged election system collapse in real time. Remember when Donald Trump said the 2020 election was rigged? The corporate media, the fake news, they went wild calling it the big lie and claiming he had absolutely no proof. Well, guess what? He had the classified information the entire time. Now we're watching the investigations blow wide open in Georgia and Arizona. But if you want to see a rigged election happening right before your eyes, just look at California. They had two massive races going on, one for mayor of LA and one for governor. And here's where it gets highly suspicious. The deep state players know they can't make both of their preferred candidates lose at the same time because their cheating system would become way too obvious. So it looks like they had to make a choice. You had Spencer Pratt out there being incredibly vocal, making videos, dominating the public eye, and he completely drew the deep state into a trap. This very well could have been a brilliant setup by the Trump administration because the establishment took the bait and said, there is no way we are letting this big mouth guy win. So they deployed their cheating machine against Pratt, allowing the other candidate, Hilton, to just cruise right into office. The establishment couldn't put the squeeze on Hilton because there was already too much heat on Pratt, and doing it twice would have looked totally corrupt. You have to wonder if Trump and his team planned this entire thing just to get a future governor into position while exposing the whole election rigging apparatus in real time for the world to see. Let's not forget there are still hundreds of thousands of uncounted votes sitting out there. And Spencer Pratt is publicly asking if they've all been counted yet. Does he know something? Were those votes intentionally held back by the machine? Think about it. The deep state uses up all their fake votes to cheat. They think they won. And then suddenly the remaining real votes get counted and push Pratt over the finish line. Maybe, maybe not. But we are going to watch exactly how that plays out. Meanwhile, the whole situation over in Iran looks like it's finally coming to a grinding halt. And as always, it comes down to one thing: leverage. When Trump makes a deal, he ensures he holds all the cards and forces the other side to realize they have absolutely zero leverage. Sometimes you have to drop a few bombs to remind them of that reality. And that is exactly what the recent strikes were all about. Every step of the way, Trump has been showing them they are powerless. Don't believe the mainstream narrative about Iran controlling the straits or wielding weapons of mass destruction. That is straight out of their state-run propaganda networks. And honestly, it's no different than the propaganda networks we have right here in the United States called the fake news. The media has been propping Iran up, making everyone believe they were much stronger than they actually are. But they were always weak. They were just instructed by the globalists to hold the line, avoid making a deal with Trump, and drag this conflict out until the midterms. Why? Because it keeps gas prices through the roof and cripples the American economy, which is exactly what the Democrats wanted to weaponize against Trump. But Trump knew their playbook. He knew this wouldn't take long, and he knew he could wrap this up and get gas prices plummeting right before the midterms. All Trump had to do was show the IRGC that absolutely nobody was coming to rescue them. Nobody was going to stop the American bombers. And he proved it to them over and over until they finally folded. Now, it looks like they've completely cracked. And Trump is already moving pieces on the board, dealing with two entirely different governments as we speak. Look, Trump isn't just talking to one group over there in Iran. He is speaking to two entirely different governments at the same time. He's talking to the old, exhausted IRGC, and he's talking to the incoming new government that's about to take its place. A government that actually has real control over the country. But Trump, being the master negotiator, wanted the IRGC to look the world in the eye, sign the deal, and formally surrender so the new leadership could step in. And remember when Trump mentioned going into Carr Island? The media probably thought we'd need a massive invasion force, but let's be honest. He won't even have to fire a single shot. The generals on that island are going to get the call. Trump will tell them to stand down, and the U.S. takes it with total ease. Sure, you might get one or two guys trying to play hero and resist, but it's over. Trump has been controlling the straits and pulling the strings the entire time. He just wanted the IRGC to say it out loud so the global audience could hear the defeat. The reality the corporate media won't report is that the deep state players are losing at every single turn. There is nowhere left for them to run, nowhere left to hide. And frankly, the game is completely over because Donald Trump is the one in the driver's seat. Now, that doesn't mean these corrupt establishment insiders won't fight like cornered animals until the bitter end. But look at what Trump is doing. He is systematically dismantling everything they built to protect themselves. He's tearing down their terrorist organizations, smashing the cartels, breaking the street gangs, wiping out their leverage over oil, and completely shredding the rigged economic system they spent decades creating. They are getting weaker by the day, which means whatever desperate, chaotic moves they try to make next will be entirely isolated right here inside our own borders. They won't be able to call in backup from international terrorists, foreign cartel members, or MS-13 squads. They are totally on their own. And Trump has led them down this exact path because he knew exactly what they had planned. We know what their playbook is. They want to spark mass riots and pull off a textbook color revolution in America. And what do you need for a color revolution? You need a martyr. They might try to use Carmelo Anthony for this. Remember, he murdered Austin Mataf. And the radical left is going to try everything they can to weaponize that case to fuel the fires in the streets. Whether that works or they have to manufacture some other massive national incident, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, the deep state is visibly sweating, and Trump just backed them into a corner with the Save America Act. He told Congress to shove the Save America Act right into the Reconciliation 3.0 bill, which means it only needs 51 votes to clear the Senate. It's actually pretty brilliant. It's the exact same dirty legislative tactic Obama used to sneak the Smith-Mundt Act through by burying it inside the NDAA. Trump is using their own playbook against them, and the establishment has zero escape routes. They either have to vote to pass the Save America Act, or they have to explain to the voters why they blocked it when the full, undeniable evidence of their election rigging scheme drops right before the midterms. Trump waited until the absolute perfect moment to strike, so these corrupt bureaucrats wouldn't have time to pivot or change their election strategies. He set the trap perfectly. The radical left will still push for chaos and riots, but Trump has them completely boxed in domestically, where they can be easily controlled. We are going to stay all over that story, but first, we need to talk about the absolute horror show regarding our missing children. Because every single day that passes, the real law enforcement officers at the FBI and DHS are rescuing more kids from the clutches of human traffickers. DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen just exposed a chilling reality that should make every single American sick to their stomach. According to reports flagged by Eric Darty, Secretary Mullen revealed that some of the innocent children trafficked across the Democrats' wide-open border are telling investigators they were brutally raped 600 to 700 times. Let's be clear. I don't care if you're a liberal, a conservative, an independent, or a Republican. If you cannot stand up and support law enforcement going after these monsters and saving these kids, who are you? Federal agents have found 146,000 children so far, but there are still nearly 300,000 missing kids out there. And while investigators are listening to these horrific testimonies, the Democrats hear these numbers and either look the other way or pretend the border crisis isn't happening. It is absolute treason. They knew exactly what was going down. And as Brian Cates pointed out, the ultimate punch in the gut is that the very establishment bureaucrat who played the biggest role in losing track of these poor kids, the ones subjected to this unimaginable abuse, is currently slated by the machine to become the next governor of California. We're talking about Becca. Now, is the machine actually going to pull off putting him in the governor's mansion? I highly doubt it. But we are going to watch this play out very closely. The good news is the old corrupt guard is losing its grip, and the FBI is finally back to working for the American people, not the deep state. The days of the old FBI protecting the criminal syndicate are completely over. Welcome to FBI 2.0, where federal agents are actually going after the real criminals. Under the old guard, the deep state actively protected lawbreakers because they wanted them to tear this country apart at the seams. They rolled out the red carpet for foreign adversaries to walk all over us because they simply didn't care about America and wanted our system completely destroyed. That was their playbook from day one. Open the borders, shield the criminals, kill cash bail, and watch the chaos unfold. But look at how the reformed FBI is totally turning the tables. The Department of Justice's National Security Division just announced they seized 13 malicious internet domains used by hostile foreign actors to target Americans. Specifically, current and former security clearance holders holding highly sensitive government secrets. Assistant Attorney General Matthew Olson, or as the Patriots in the new DOJ are calling the leadership pushing this, the true law and order team, made it clear that these domain seizures expose exactly how foreign spies use fake promises of easy consulting money to lure Americans into selling out their own country. Now, Kash Patel and the new team at Justice are aggressively cracking down and systematically dismantling every digital pipeline the deep state built. Because let's use some basic common sense and logic here. If you look back at Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, what do you think they were really doing? They were treating American secrets like a garage sale, selling them out to the highest foreign bidder. The cash got laundered through their sketchy family foundations and shady NGOs, but ask yourself the obvious question. Why on earth did Hillary have a private, unencrypted email server sitting in her bathroom? The fake news media called it a clerical oversight, but give me a break. You don't set up a private home server unless you want to give hostile foreign nations direct, backdoor access to top secret data without leaving a government paper trail. In the old days of espionage, a spy had to sneak over to a park bench, hide a folder underneath, and chalk an X on a lamppost. The deep state realized that was too much manual labor. They figured, why not just build an open access server, throw all the classified intel on it, and let our adversaries download whatever they want? It gave them perfect, plausible deniability to say, oh my goodness, we were hacked. How did this happen? While pointing the finger